Hello, everyone. I am Yashima Marshall, the owner of Beyond Vision Coaching, and also the host of a YouTube page called Beyond the Blur. And welcome to the challenge. I am still me. This is a 5-day challenge that I put together to help us talk about the identity gap and the identity gift shift that happens during our vision loss journey. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Yashima Marshall. I am a social worker. I've been a social worker for 30 years, and I have my master's in social work, and I'm also a therapist and a coach. I have started on this journey of vision loss. I am legally blind due to diabetic retinopathy. I am blind in my right eye and have progressive vision loss in my left eye. And so I am what we call a vision. I call myself a vision loss coach, the VIP coach, and I help those with vision loss cope with the emotional and psychological adjustment to vision loss. And so what I'm doing this week is a challenge. It's a 5-day challenge talking about the identity shift all week. And so I'll be on here Monday through Friday talking about a different theme and a different situation related to the identity shift and just kind of dealing with the question that we have throughout our vision loss journey: who am I? Now, before we get started, let me just talk about who this challenge is for. Maybe you signed up for it, maybe you just kind of joining in with us. This challenge is for people who are new to their vision loss journey, newly diagnosed, newly to vision loss, someone who is going through the emotional adjustment process of vision loss, dealing with some progressive vision loss, like myself. So, or you could be completely blind, but it's just really you think that you're at a point in your vision loss journey where you want some more support and you're dealing with maybe the grief cycle, just the emotional side of your vision loss journey. And you are willing to need to understand more so what's going on with you and answer the question or dealing with the question of who am I? So this challenge is not for someone who has it all together. Think you got it all together. You don't need the support. You don't need, anything to deal with the emotional or psychological part of your vision loss journey, and you're not dealing with anything that's related to your identity, then this is probably not the challenge for you. Just to kind of let you know their heads up. So I'm going to be hosting this challenge on my YouTube page because it just works out. It's easier and everyone can access it. Whether you're following me on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, you can, join it here and follow the challenge right here on YouTube because it's easy for me and it's easy for everybody who's following me. So today, the theme is who am I? And how I'm going to do this challenge is I'm going to do a little bit of teaching. I'm just adjusting myself a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit teaching on a topic each day. Then I'll give you a reflective prompt, something to think about, and then I'll give you a brief little assignment, something to kind of follow up with for the next day. It won't be a huge dissertation or a paper or anything to write, but just some kind of simple challenge or simple assignment I'm going to give you just to some practical use after we're done here today, right? So let's jump right into it. If you have questions, please feel free to, send me a DM, send me an email, ask the question down below, whether you're following me on TikTok. I'll post a little bit of the snippet of this challenge on TikTok and Instagram, but the full challenge, you're going to have to come to my YouTube page to get all the challenge, the entire 5 minutes of the teaching. Okay. So today we're talking about who am I? So listen, during your vision loss journey, you will definitely encounter identity gap. And what I want to say just to start this off is that vision loss does not define you. It is a part of who you are in your journey as a person, but it does not identify who you are. There is so much more to you than your vision loss. Let's start off by saying that, okay? But I know just from going through this process that you get to the point where you have that identity gap, right? And what is that identity gap? That's the gap between who you used to be, right? And who you think of yourself as who you were and who you're becoming and who you feel like you are now. Because of vision loss, we go through that moment where we're like, I don't really understand who I am anymore. I don't work the job that I used to work. I don't have the independence I used to have. I don't have the freedom I used to have. I don't know what to do. I'm lost in who I am. And guess what? If you feel that way, nothing's wrong with you. That is part of the process, right? Let's just say that right now. That's a part of the process of vision loss. We have lost something that we cannot get back. Our vision physically, right? Our independence. I just said these things, your independence, your freedom, even your confidence in certain instances. You lost your job, your ability to drive. So it's normal for you to feel like you've lost really a big part of who you are, or at least what you felt identified you as a person, especially if you had a career shift like I did. And I had to ask that question, who am I? And to be honest with you, initially in the beginning, I couldn't answer that question. That question was loaded because I didn't know. I didn't know what direction my life was going to go in the beginning of this vision loss journey. I didn't know where I was going to work. I didn't know how I was going to do the things that I used to do and do the things that I used to love to do in my life, traveling, moving about the world, independently with freedom without having to ask somebody, hey, can you take me there? Or, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you read this for me? So that is real. The identity gap is real. It is no joke. And going through that, you start to grieve a little bit of that person. Like I used to be this girl, this guy who used to be the one that everyone came to, the one who could move through life independently, not having to ask anybody for anything, if unless I just wanted to. So you begin to grieve who you used to be because now you're becoming someone new. And guess what? Grief is not a sign of weakness. Grief is not a sign that something is wrong with you. Grief is a normal process of the vision loss journey. You know, I'm looking at the people who are saying they never grieve or they don't miss their old self. I'm looking at you with a side eye like, honey, please, dude, stop lying. Because unless you were just born blind, right? Unless you were born blind or you at a young age you went blind and you were going blind quickly and you didn't have time to establish who you were as a person, as an adult. You didn't have career, you didn't have a family, you didn't have all these things. Unless you were there, then there's no way that you couldn't grieve who you used to be because you were a whole person. You had a whole life. I had a whole life, a whole person before I started losing my vision. So I'd be lying to you if I pretended to not miss who I used to be. There'll be a lie, right? But it's okay, to miss that person and have this sense of uncertainty in your life. Like what's going to happen next? What does my future look like? So I want to acknowledge that and I want you to be okay with acknowledging those things that there's an identity gap, that you will experience some grief, that you have a sense of uncertainty in your life in the beginning. I'm not saying 6 years down the road, 1 year down the road, 2 year down the road, that you haven't gotten used to some of these things and trying to figure it out. But in the beginning, there are those things you're going through and that you don't have the answers to. And guess what? You don't have to figure it all out all at once in the beginning because you won't. You're going to drive yourself nuts if you think that everything is going to just fall into place immediately, instantly, after you just say, hey, I lost my vision. Now everything popped back in place. It ain't gonna happen. I don't care who you are. And I consider myself to be a pretty sharp cookie. And it took me about a year to start getting back to the norm and getting and realizing in my mind and in myself, in my heart, okay, what's happening here? What's going on with me? And now these are some of the steps that I need to begin to take in order to get to that point. And so what are some of those? And we'll talk about that later in the week. But today we're just focusing on who am I in this identity thing. So the reflective prompt that I have for you today is that what part do you miss the most, or do you find yourself wishing you still had in your life right now today? Okay. You don't have to get a whole list of all the things, but just begin to acknowledge and write down or think about, what part of me am I missing right now? What part of me do I wish was still here with me? And it's okay to think about that because you were a whole person before this happened with a whole life, whole future plans, everything going on with you. Okay. So let's not, what I want to say, let's not minimize that experience of the person of who you used to be. Now you're growing into someone new. And now we have to think about who am I now and what does she or he, who do I want to be in the future? Okay. And then your assignment for tomorrow. I told you lesson, reflect the prompt, and then the assignment. So let's write down your I am still me list, right? And what is that? That is a list of all the things that you still are. Your vision loss does not take away your identity, okay? It may reshape some things. It may add some new things into who you are, but it does not change who you are as a person. I am still me. I still have certain traits and qualities and value system and belief system that are still relevant today, regardless of my vision loss. So I want you to write down your list. I am still me list. So for me, what would that list look like? To give you an example, I still have a sense of humor. I am still upbeat and perky with a great personality. I am still creative. I still love to write books, create guides and things to help people. I am still a social worker to my heart till I die. That will not change regardless of my vision loss journey. Okay, so those are a few things. I am still a loving wife, a supportive mom, sister, auntie, Monty, all of those things. Those are still qualities and things and values that still make up Shima. So, what's on your list? And I want you to share it with me. Come back to the YouTube page or on TikTok if I share this. Share part of your I am still me list because it's important to this journey for us to still recognize that we are still us. We are still the people that we've known. We may be evolving to some new people and some new things, but there are lots of things inside of us that still makes us us. So I hope this was good for you today. So don't forget to come back here to my YouTube page and check it out. Check out some snippets and some summaries on Instagram and TikTok about the I Am Still Me 5-day challenge. I'm going to be here every day. So I hope I see you back tomorrow. Thanks for joining me.